Hello, Fear the Meerkat here. Welcome to another episode of Final Fantasy VI Advance. Now, you need to talk to all of the characters you already know, basically Sabin and Locke, Edgar, in here, in the cave in order to proceed. Now, I didn't plug the microphone in when I recorded the live commentary, unfortunately, so I'm having to temporarily switch to a post recording here, a non-live commentary. So I've tried to edit this as best I can, basically to give me time to talk and stuff like that. But the editing might be a little clumsier here than it is usually. I don't think it's that bad though. So yeah, an air knife allows you to parry certain attacks, and Knight's Code makes you protect wounded enemies. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can't use either of those things. So now you can't really add anything. Later on you can use give either of those things to Locke, but right now you can't. But yeah, I've tried to give myself time. It is harder editing something when you don't have live commentary on it, because you don't know sort of how long you'll need to kind of pause the action, as it were, and to give you time to talk and explain things properly. For example, I almost ran out of time to explain that you need to rest in order to get your HP and MP back. Now, you would have thought, since he's already rested overnight, Bannon's already rested overnight, so we can assume that she has, that the hit points and magic points would already have been restored, but they haven't. So you need to deliberately rest again whilst you're in here once in order to make that happen. It's also a good idea to save here, because you're coming up to a long section where you're going to be fighting a lot, and there's a pretty tricky boss coming up. So yes, you have to kind of give yourself time to talk, and I'm going to do my best with that to get all of the information across to you that I need you to know. So yeah, you can't really proceed in the game unless you agree to do what Bannon says and join the returners in their fight. You just never progress beyond that point. Now, if this soldier says anything other than this, then you haven't talked to all of the characters yet. You need to trigger this sequence. Now, I'm not quite sure how Bannon managed to slip past you, since you couldn't find him indoors earlier, and apparently he's only just gone outdoors. Never mind, I guess that's how that is. Now, Bannon's hair is a different colour when you just see him standing there to that blonde that it is when he's talking to Tower and you just see his face. So I don't know why that is, but that is a thing that is true. So there we go. Gauntlet. As far as I know, Edgar is the only character who can use Gauntlet, and what Gauntlet does is allow you to use a weapon with two hands instead of just with one hand. I would assume the War of the Magi is from one of the previous Final Fantasy games. That was most sense. It's not from Final Fantasy 3. It's far forgotten with Final Fantasy anyway. I never completed it, but I don't know why they bothered to put up armor. It seems kind of a weird decoration in this cave. But never mind. In general, they've managed to do pretty well, I think, with making areas look different. And there's a lot of scope with what they've got. They've got tables and chairs and tables that look different to those tables, as you can see here, and caves look different, treats everyone, stuff like that. I think generally they've done well, but there is a limit to how many different choices they have in terms of objects that they can fit in a Nintendo DS. So yes, Terra has now decided to join them. I like this sort of banter between Edgar and Locke, and I think the characters also talk differently to each other, and I think that works very well. I'm quite impressed by that. I think there's a good script for this game. See, I can't imagine any character except Bannon saying diddly dally like that. Now, there are times when I save the game using the save files that an emulator has. Not a lot of them, you get by without that, but I've tried those out as best I can. But there's a couple that I've accidentally left in, so there you go. Now, this river, basically you're going to be travelling on it. Occasionally you'll have to make a decision about which route to go along, but in case you're playing along with this, I will show you which route to go on. It's not a good idea to have her, the only character who can use magic, be the one that protects the others. I'm not quite sure which character it is best to go with, because none of the others have cure, but it's best not to go for her, as far as I can tell. I think in the end I just went for no one. Oh no, I was wrong, I went for Sabin. Ah well. It's been several days since I ordered this, so I'm doing this commentary sort of from memory. But yes, river, you'll be going on, and if Bannon falls, then the entire party falls, so you need to protect him, and occasionally you will have some about what direction to go in, and often you'll be attacked, and showing off some of those battles, but not all of them. Now, this octopus creature, it's better to get rid of the octopus creature first if there's more than one creature on screen and more of them is the octopus, because the octopus uses ink, and ink causes blindness on whichever character it attacks. And blindness won't affect magic attacks, but it makes your physical attacks hit less often, and to get rid of blind you need to use eye drops, and fortunately the octopus monsters occasionally drop some eye drops, leave them behind, so I don't think it matters that much. I think you end up in the right place anyway, whether you choose right or left or straight, but I'm not 100% certain, so it's probably best to go for left. For me, the sound is kind of screwed up here, but I'm sincerely hoping it isn't screwed up for you. If it is, well, you'll just have to cope for one episode, because I've done my best here. Anyway, if Bannon gets blind, it doesn't matter as much as the others, so always move blind from the others first. If one of them is blind and Bannon is blind at the same time, if you see what I mean, because Bannon uses Prey, and what Prey does is cure the entire party, including Bannon himself, and you can do that whether you're blind or not. It doesn't affect anything, so it's best to do that. If you are getting sound problems, I'm really sorry, but I've tried very hard on this, and please just find a way to deal with it. Now, use Blitz from Sabin if you're good at using Blitz. If you think you don't have a chance and you're not gonna put the sequence in successfully, I mentioned what the sequence was in the previous episode. I don't really have time to go over it again now, but if you think you're not gonna do it correctly, then just use a physical attack, because it's not worth the time you're going to be wasting. And it is a very good idea to save here, because as I say, there's a boss later, and it's just a good idea to save generally. And at this point I realised I had no eye drops left. So yes, about Gauntlet. If you're using Gauntlet, it means your character is using both hands to hold the weapon, and therefore you can't use a shield or anything like that in your left hand. It also means you can't use Air Knife. Locke is the only character who can use Air Knife, but he can't use it if he's using Gauntlet. Nope, still haven't got anything to remove blind, so... Now, there was a bit where I got sort of lost here, but I haven't shown it off. We're about to get another chance at deciding where we should go. You need to go left here. Now, I accidentally went up a couple of times, and I've cut all of that out, but when I did that, my character's gained a couple of levels, so the levels will now be a bit inconsistent from what you've seen, but if you've done it correctly and gone left, then you'll end up here in this cave, which looks similar to the cave you were in before, but as you'll see in a minute, it's not exactly the same, because you then take a different route. Afterwards, you go further up here than you did earlier, and then you go, well, along here, as you can see on screen. And so, if you end up going this way, you'll know that you're going the right way. See? Eye drops. Now, this is a boss, and this is a really tricky boss. Because the battle happens so quickly. This is a very fast moving battle. Now, I've done some editing as best I could because I died a few times, and there might be a couple of times when the editing's not perfect, but hopefully it will still make sense. Now, this boss has a move called Tentacle, and when it does that, that does some really serious damage. So what you need to do is periodically, even if all of your characters are alive and conscious, periodically, every once in a while, you need to use Phoenix Down, and sometimes Phoenix Down will probably do nothing. But if you use it once every 3 or 4 moves, then sometimes Phoenix Down will save one of your characters as soon as it falls dead. Basically, since you've got 4 members in your party, it takes a while for the Phoenix Down to happen. So you're sort of doing Phoenix Down in advance, if you see what I mean. Now, every time you get a chance to use Bannon in this fight needs to use Prey. That's my advice. Every time you can use Edgar ought to be using tools and then Bioblaster or one of the other tools that he has. Every time you use Tower, you need to use Magic and then Fire, or Magic and then Cure, but it's best to use Prey as your pure thing. And every time you use Sabin, if you think you can get it to work, then use Blitz. But if you don't think you can get it to work, then it's not worth using Blitz. So use a physical attack. And you need to keep Bannon alive, obviously, and you need to watch out for Tentacle and not let your other characters die. And you need to use Phoenix Down a lot. And that's basically it. Don't bother unless, 3 of your characters are blind. Don't waste time. Eye drops during this fight. There's really not that much point. None of your characters, except possibly Sabin, will be using physical attacks anyway, so it won't really matter that much. But yeah, this is a hard boss, and so I suppose I wish you luck. I have no idea why the raft isn't moving away from the creature, the boss, since the water's clearly flowing. But hopefully you'll get to this point. There's some quite nice music here, which hopefully you can hear if the sound isn't screwed up. Hopefully I've just shown off the good music there by being quiet, and if I haven't, then you've just heard a horrible mess. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all there is to say about the boss. I don't know how Sabin was managed to float above the water whilst he was using his blitz attack, but never mind. This is a nice scene, I like this scene. But yeah, the party gets split up here, sort of Fellowship of the Ring style. And this is something I really like about this game and about computer games in general, but this game in particular, is that it's so imaginative and original, in my opinion, and that's really cool, because who would have thought that your party would get split up in a computer game? And who would have thought that you would then get to choose which character to follow when they get split up? It doesn't force you like, now you follow this character, now you follow that one, now you follow that one, without the choice. You can proceed forward with all of them, and all of them can get to Nashi and get to where they need to go independently of the others. And this is something this game does. It's just really cool. It doesn't matter which one you go for, really. I would save it at this point, but it doesn't matter that much, because all of them can get to where they need to go. I decided to go for Locke first. I didn't really have a reason. I just decided to go for Locke. It was pretty much random. You can go for any character you want, although if you're playing along with me, it's probably easier just to go for the characters I do. I think the next episode will probably be mostly concentrating on Locke, and the one after that will probably be concentrating on Sabin. But beyond that, I can't really say for sure, so I can't really tell you skip ahead to this. If you want to use a different character now. There are characters in Magitech armor, guards, and if you approach one of the ones in Magitech armor, then you'll be killed pretty much instantly. So don't do that. If you approach one of the other guards, they won't attack you. I don't know why, but they will tell you to go away and they will not allow you to pass. The game does give you clues, so we know that we need to go back to that place where there was a secret area, because of the breeze that basically told you there's a secret area in this room. You might remember that from a couple of episodes back. There's even a clue that you can attack this merchant, although when I was playing this episode I didn't quite pick up on that. You don't really need to buy a lot here. Well, I didn't need to because I had a lot of stuff already that I needed. If you're running low on potions, those are always helpful. If you're running low on Phoenix Down, those are always helpful. Eye drops less helpful from this point on for quite a while, but never mind. I'm gonna show this off. You will be fighting him again later, but since we've never seen a merchant before, I might as well show off this battle. I'm actually taking the wrong approach. This is not what you're supposed to do, but I had to play ahead a little on my own without recording it to work out how you escape from the city, and I hadn't done that yet, so. But yeah, there's not a lot really to say here. You just kind of need to be smart and work out the clues, or just wait until I give you the answer. But yeah, it tells you that we need cider. It does give you plenty of clues. But I was really unsure when I first recorded this about where to go. So we're coming up onto the end of the episode now. Not really much else to say, so I will say goodbye now, and I will see you next time.